remember everything I discussed in the other videos, so I'm just going to say what's on my mind at this time. Before I talk about the measure we were just going over, I'm just going to go over the general strumming technique. Now, Jake, you're doing a good job at landing the pick on the correct string, so we hear only the strings we want to hear. That's awesome. One thing we want to think about is how, in terms of tone, when we want this, there's a lot of things that go into making it sound really pretty. Some of those things we've been focusing a lot on, having notes ring together, and making sure we strum the right strings by using this technique that gives us accuracy, right? But other things that affect that very much on a very large scale is how hard we're picking. That's one important thing. So right now you're kind of laying into it kind of heavily, like you're holding the pick too tightly, and we're getting this. That's good for trying to get a lot of volume out of the guitar, but this is a song where we want the sound to be more delicate. Okay, so we're just going to want to hold the pick more gently so there's more play in it. Okay? Okay, so holding the pick more gently is one part of what's going to give us a nicer sound. When we strum, we want to remember that that pick should be angled a little bit. If the pick is too parallel, let me get a thicker pick for a second. If the pick is too parallel, we're going to have to push harder to get it to strum. Okay, but if the pick is angled, we can much more lightly brush through the strings. So we hold the pick gently so that there's play and we can wiggle that pick, and we angle the pick so we can get a nice lower volume brushing sound. Alright, now finally the other detail here is when you're playing right now, you're resting your hand back here on the bridge as you're doing the strums, like this. Now what that's causing is, number one, it may be getting a little bit in the way of the pick angling sometimes the way we want it to, because your hand is closer to the guitar and the fingers are going to start bumping the strings. But another thing is, if you're back here, you have to stay back here. You can't come forward because you'll start palm muting, okay? So that means that you're left strumming the strings pretty close to the bridge. You want to remember that the closer you get to that bridge, the brighter and tinnier the sound is. We don't want that. We want the sound to be softer and larger and warmer, and we're going to get that sound over the sound hole a little bit. So we can't rest our palm down for stability if we want to pick over the sound hole of the acoustic. Instead, we want to use our pinky on the pick guard, or somewhere right around here, which is going to give us a fuller, warmer sound. Okay, so we're going to rest our hand just like so. It's going to be, our hand is going to hover over the strings by our palm, like my palm is hovering over the strings by around an inch or so. It fluctuates a little bit. So if we're using the pinky, we're strumming over the sound hole, holding the pick gently, and angling the pick, and then strumming softly, we're going to get the sound we want. Alright, so let's just have that be one video.